Phil, I'm frustrated. I literally have lost track of how many customers have come into the dealership and said, I've got $10,000 worth of modifications on my vehicle, therefore it should be worth $10,000 more.
Well, what do you mean? Isn't a 20-inch lift and spinning rims and I love monster trucks on the side of a vehicle upping my value of the vehicle?
No. I mean, I get it. I understand that you want to personalize your vehicle, but it doesn't make it more valuable. It only makes it more valuable to you. So when we spend money on things, especially when we spend more money on things, it's inherent for us to think that it adds more value to the thing. And it works in other areas, especially in real estate. Like you go buy a house and then you do a bunch of renovations, it's probably going to increase the value of the house. The problem is that it does not work that way in the car business. I'm Ryan Leverett.
I'm Phil Menzat.
This is Car Buying 101, where we give you the insider's guide, the secrets, the tips to save you time, save you money, and let you have a better experience next time you buy a car.
Yeah, and avoid really costly mistakes like adding a bunch of unnecessary and personalized mods to your vehicle when you plan to trade it in a couple years.
And that's just the thing. A lot of times it's very personalized. So I had a guy come into the dealership the other day and he's got this jacked up truck. And frankly, it did look good. He's got a lift kit on it. He's got wheels and tires. He's got a level. He's got a performance tune. He's got exhaust. He's got, the list went on. This guy spent like $20,000 on modifications for his truck. Problem is, he thought that he was going to get 20 grand more than the rest of the market when he went to trade in that truck, and that was not the case. And he was pissed off. He was not happy at all. And I had to break the news to him that that's not how the car business works.
Yeah.
Why? Number one is simple marketing. Simple marketing. When you modify a vehicle, especially to that level, dealerships do not buy cars to have them for themselves.
No.
They buy them to sell them.
Yeah.
And we want to cast as wide a net as possible to attract as many people as possible to buy that vehicle. So just think about it this way. If you have truck A and truck B, truck A is completely stock, properly maintained, nothing added to it except for some basic cosmetics, okay? Truck B has been modified to the nth degree. Mm-hmm. Which truck do you think is going to sell quicker? And which truck do you think is going to attract more potential buyers? Truck A.
Yeah. Well, it's like one time we had a guy trade in a vehicle, similar thing, same story. He's upset that he didn't get as much money, and he had it honestly looked like I go and follow carnivals and participate in monster truck shows kind of truck. Like, it was really ridiculous. And I mean, he still traded it because he wanted a new truck, but they wound up wholesaling that truck because nobody wanted to buy it.
Yeah. Reason number two that adding a bunch of modifications could actually decrease the value of your vehicle is that dealerships usually cannot guarantee the integrity of those modifications. No. Unlike a normal safety inspection where they're looking at the mechanical integrity, dealerships often can't go through all of the modifications. And honestly, tunes are the worst.
They're the worst.
People that mess with turbos, people that mess with engine programming, dealerships can't guarantee that stuff. And so it makes the customer base really uncomfortable with the potential of buying that.
I wouldn't.
And customers come in all the time and say, okay, what's the tune? I don't know.
Yeah.
How do I retune it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you remove it? Probably not. Which company, which shop did the tune? I don't know. Those aren't questions that I need to answer as a dealer.
Yeah.
And often they're not questions that I can answer as a dealer.
Yeah.
And I can't guarantee the mechanical integrity of those modifications, especially if you did mess with the programming or turbos or that kind of stuff. So a lot of customers just aren't comfortable with the idea of buying a vehicle secondhand that's got all that stuff done to it.
Well, again, I had a guy, he wanted to trade in a vehicle, and he's like, oh, I added all these things to it. It was a Mustang. And I'm like, well, where did you get the work done? He goes, oh, well, my buddy's really good with vehicles, and he did the work. Like,
how do you resell that?
You don't.
You don't.
You don't.
Just don't. Reason number three that modifications do not add value to your vehicle, in fact, they may decrease the value of your vehicle, is that modifications, additions, also depreciate, just like the vehicle. If a vehicle in the first 3 years of its life depreciates by 40%, you can expect that the modifications also depreciate. So if you go and spend $10,000 on a bunch of modifications. 3 years later, you're lucky if they're worth 5 or 6 grand, not the 10 grand that you originally paid. And that's the problem that I see most often. Is people spend 10 grand on a vehicle when they buy it to do a bunch of modifications, and they expect that that 10 grand is going to carry, and it's going to be worth 10 grand more than all the other vehicles in the market. Actually, those modifications, those additions also depreciate, and they depreciate actually faster than the vehicle itself.
But also, thank goodness you have salespeople, because you always have salespeople that say, that guy was ripping me off. He screwed me up. Yeah, you know, but it's true. It's what we experience all the time when we're trying to do an appraisal. It's like, listen, now this is not to say that mods are something you should never do or can't do or whatever, but just take into mind that if you do want to do all this stuff, that's fine, but
let me
you
ask
are going to pay a price if you do try to trade it in.
Perfect example. Phil, how long have you owned your truck?
About 5 years now.
How long do you plan to keep it?
Forever.
So now, in that case, if you would put $10,000 worth of modifications, would you even care? Because you're not planning to resell it.
Different story. Completely different story.
What we in the dealership world tend to get a little frustrated with, and what we have to try to bring a lot of logic to the table with our customers, is when someone does that and then tries to trade it in 3, 4, 5 years.
Well, that's exactly it.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I can't give you the value that you are expecting for that vehicle. Okay, reason number 4, modifications don't add value to your vehicle. In fact, they might decrease value, is because modifications are also personal.
Yeah.
They're very personal. And we're seeing this more and more now with the camper van conversion market.
Oh, yeah.
People buy transit vans, Mercedes Sprinters. They do a camper van conversion. Like, those are customized to a T to a person or a couple or a family.
Yeah.
And then they want to trade those in with all of the camper stuff still in and expect us to pay up for, well, someone's going to want a camper van. Yeah, but not necessarily not necessarily the way that you did it.
Yeah.
They're going to want to do it themselves.
That's the whole point of a camper
just because you spent $60,000 on a brand new Ford Transit van or 80 grand on a brand new Sprinter, and then spent an additional 50 grand modifying it to be a camper van, man, that thing is absolutely worthless to a dealership that's looking to resell it. Because most of the customers that come into our dealership that want to buy a van to camperize them, they want to do it themselves. The same thing with performance mods, with truck modifications, lift kits, tires, wheels, rims. It might not be to the next person's taste the way that you just did it. There's a few exceptions to this rule, though. We talk about modifications or ads. There's a few exceptions, and one of them is OEM accessories. If you're putting running boards on, bug deflectors, a tonneau cover on a truck, spray-in box liners, cosmetic things. If you're doing ceramic coating, if you're doing undercoating, maybe even a wrap on the vehicle. Actually, I really like wraps when people do that.
Yeah, if they're nice,
If they're nice, because it does make it a little bit unique, but not way off the charts. And if the wrap's starting to fall apart, I can peel it off, and I got a fresh paint, coat of paint underneath.
Yeah, that's the thing. A wrap is undoable.
Yeah.
You know?
Another exception to the rule here is super, super rare vehicles. So we're talking like high-end, a Ferrari, an Acura NSX, a Toyota Supra. Like, we're talking really high-end, super rare vehicles. If you do some modifications, there's often only 1 or 2 or 3 shops, like in an entire country, that will do modifications on those cars. And usually the customers that trade those in, if they ever do, they've got all the paperwork.
That's
they've got
different story.
Totally different story.
Versus my buddy did it in his garage.
Completely. Avoid that vehicle like the plague. And unfortunately, most salespeople are not going to say to you, the next potential customer, hey, by the way, the guy that traded this in, his buddy did all the modifications. Like, as if that's going to be a selling point.
That's, I'm, okay, well, let's look at another vehicle point to me. Right.
Listen, guys, there's 3 stages to owning a vehicle. There's the buying stage, which is what most people focus their entire time on, and what most people watching this video are focused on. There's the ownership stage, and there's the selling stage. And you need to focus on all 3 stages before you pull the trigger and finalize anything. Make sure you're getting the best vehicle at the best deal. Make sure you know how to properly own and maintain that vehicle and what it's going to cost you. And make sure you know what that vehicle is going to be worth in the market when you go to resell it. And one of the biggest things that people run into as a problem is the selling stage, because they did a bunch of weird stuff during the buying stage. And all of a sudden their vehicle, when they try to go to sell it, it's not worth anything because it's specific to them. They've cannibalized their potential market, and that's a huge problem. When it's time to sell your vehicle, remember that your trade is not, your current vehicle is not worth what you think it's worth. It's worth what someone is willing to pay you for it.
Right.
So,
like, share, and subscribe. Avoid all those costly mistakes.
And stick around for more content. Take care, guys.